Welcome to Overgrow the Radio. Tonight we have from votinginaction.org, Michael Clifton. From We Are Change, Colorado, Chris Nixon. And from I Am Bill Smith, Shan Moore. And now, here's Stickman and Elisa.
Hey, welcome to Overgrow the Radio. How are you tonight, ma'am?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm angry. This is my angry voice.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are we angry about?
We got letters this week.
What kind of letters do we get?
We got letters from John. One of our Johns, John Walsh.
John Walsh.
Yeah.
He's a bad guy.
He kind of is a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's taking patients' medicine.
He is taking patients' medicine, sick people's medicines away from them. He's
taking livelihoods of families, business owners. He's taking money out of our communities. You know, I think it's time that our DA down our way, Mr. May, I'd like to see him stand up. Like Boulder.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't. I don't either. You know, I wanted to go on a big rant about this, but we've got such a great show tonight that I really hate to do that. We're going to start off, though. We're going to talk about an event that's going on right now that we're going to head over to after our taping. It's the Boehner fundraiser, which is One Love at Haters, if I'm correct. We will get an address at some point for you in the near future. But if you're out and about, take your internet with you and listen to us. There you go.
19th and Bannock, find it.
Nice. There you go. Get down there.
One block. Come on, figure it out.
Yeah, it's not too hard. I'm sure you'll see a big crowd from what I hear. Tonight we've got quite a few guests in our studio. We've got Shan Moore and Mr. Chaz in here. We're going to talk to them first. We've got Chris Nixon from We Are Change. And we've got Michael Clifton. Michael's going to teach us how to vote down in the Springs. He's bringing our Springs vibe up here tonight. His organization is Voting in Action, votinginaction.org. So, Sean, we're going to jump into this with you guys.
We're not from the Springs?
Well, you are. You're bringing that vibe, too.
Okay, thank you.
How you guys doing tonight?
We're doing fine. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah? Chaz got good and medicated?
Yeah,
Going to be okay?
Yeah.
Cool.
Had a couple attacks today so far.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. My back's having a hard time. Hey, guys, you guys are up here for a couple reasons tonight. We're going to start a new segment here on Overgrow the Radio. What we're going to do is highlight organizations and foundations from the Springs area and maybe beyond that at some point that actually do help patients, that get out there on the front lines, that donate medicine to patients, that do what they can, above and beyond. And you guys, your organization is definitely one of those. Can you
Thank you.
Tell the folks out there about it?
Actually,
Yeah, you just started an attack. Basically, me and Chaz, when we started this medical marijuana, we found out that there's really not a whole lot of people out there advocating for children. So we mainly advocate for children, but we also advocate for like Bob Kraus, Elisa, anything that needs our support, we're out there for. But our main focus is for the children.
Sure.
And safe access for children, and to make sure that that they know the laws, and as much as we can do to help with our resources that we have. So.
And you guys, you were kind of pushed into activism per se, as a lot of us have been. A lot of us got here that way. Chaz obviously is under 18. Are you still under 18?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got 5 months.
Nice, man. We'll have a party, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You had some struggles at school, man, and we'll let your dad just briefly touch on those for the folks that don't know your story yet, which can't be too many because we're getting it out there. Explain to us, this kind of ties in with everything that's going on, the problems we all have in society. We're treated as patients, as choosing cannabis instead of pharmaceuticals, we're treated as second-class citizens.
Second class, third class.
Right, and you guys are a prime example
Prisoners
of
have
that.
better, more rights than a cannabis patient. Basically what happened was we finally found a medication that would help with Chaz's rare disorder, that he's one of 51 in the world that have it. And instead of going to the hospital every time he has an attack, we chose cannabis, which he doesn't have to go to the hospital. He just does what he has to do and goes off and be a normal kid. Well, his neurologist finally okayed him to go back to school, and the school was like, All right, well, you can't medicate on school, blah, 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 all these laws. But, you know, it's like, well, why not? You know, he could carry Valium in his pocket before we found cannabis, and now,
Absurd.
you know, he has to walk home a mile to take his medication while having these seizures in his chest and abdomen and throat. Anyway, make a long story short, we came up with a plan to where he'd have to walk home, or one of us would have to go pick him up from school, let him medicate, and then go back. Well, after this third week of him going to school and having to leave and come back, we got a call from the school that said he can't come back because he's going to be high on marijuana. He's going to be a disruption. He's going to smell like it. He's going to...
My eyes are going to be red.
His eyes are going to be red and all this stuff. And at that time, Chaz was only doing edibles. So it was like...
That's reefer madness,
at
its finest right there.
And
he's gonna smell like it. His eyes are gonna be red. He's surely gonna get all the other kids high in the school.
You know, not counting all the other kids that are off school grounds doing it, quote unquote, illegally.
Sure.
You know, but they wanted to single him out because he was we were upfront and honest, and we got, screwed for being upfront and honest with these people. So it was a long fight. We had to go to the media. They finally, okay, he can come back, and then all of a sudden his disease took a turn for the worse to where, none of the medications that we were using to suppress it were working anymore. So now he has anywhere from 1 to 40 attacks in a day, so it was pointless for him to go back to public schools.
And the cannabis and the oils and the different, treatments you're using, they pretty much slow those down. I mean, I've seen, you take a hit
I think
off
everybody
a
here
bowl
in this room has seen him, go from, having a severe attack to, within, once he gets his medication, within a couple minutes, it's stopping.
Chaz, if you need to bow out, you're
actually
perfectly fine. Go for it.
If I was having attacks in school, there'd be no way I was going back to class.
Sure.
I don't care how much I have to medicate now. I could go from having an attack, go nurses off, medicate, and go right back to class.
Yeah.
As many times as I could a day. And
just like an inhaler for asthma.
Just like an inhaler.
A tincture.
Yeah.
A couple tincture.
Or,
you
the
drops
vape
tincture.
pens that they have nowadays that, like
Absolutely.
the e-cigarettes where they have no smell.
We got to jump to something else real quick. Plug your website for me, though, real quick.
IamBillSmith.com. We have Chaz's story on there. We have Miko and Joey out in California. We have Cash Hyde stories on there. It's kind of a one-stop shop.
Nice.
We're also working on a 5-year-old down in Colorado Springs who we've been working with. Her story's going to be on there soon. So
we've got something exciting to touch on with you real quick to get you guys out of here. Overgrow the Radio, Overgrow the Government is in full support of this. You want to tell us what you want to do?
I want to start email bombing and phone call bombing to John Walsh. I've made numerous phone calls to him, and I'm now making numerous emails to him about how he's supposedly trying to save the children, when actually when he's closing down these dispensaries, it's causing more harm than good. I mean, down in Colorado Springs, we can't even water our parks. We can't have lights on, all this other stuff. And then he's making, taking tax dollars from the schools and everything else that these dispensaries pay on.
Absolutely.
And then, there's not safe access, and then they're putting it more into the black market. So let's start letting him know exactly what he's doing to our children. He's putting more out there on the black market for, these children to get a hold of.
Well, and there's many levels to this.
Oh, yeah, many levels.
He's violating our 10th Amendment rights.
10th Amendment rights, our 20th Amendment here in Colorado.
Absolutely. Yeah,
we voted this in, people.
We voted this in by a large margin, and I'll tell you what I see, and I'm just going to rant here for just a second. I watched California before Prop 19, and if you guys remember, right before that, the feds came in waves. They did things like sent letters, and then they jumped in and started raiding everyone.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but this is the beginning of this, and we've got to stand up right now. All of us.
All of us. Start just blowing. He put an article out. I got so much praise. Well, you know what? I didn't praise you, and I know a lot of people that think it's a bunch of crap that he was doing this, and it's a bunch of crap that our own Attorney General's not standing up to him and doing what our people here in Colorado voted for. And I am, for one, sick and tired of it. And I've called him out in the papers on the Colorado Independent and this Barbara Roach. I've called them all out.
Yeah, she doesn't want to live in a town with dispensaries. Well, I have a question, Miss Roach. Why the hell did you move to Colorado?
Yeah,
because 80% of our citizens approve medical cannabis. Here. And 80% of us, I'm sorry, ma'am, you can't get rid of 80% of the state.
Yeah.
Real quick, man, we got to go to commercial. Let's, do we have a number for them?
John Walsh's phone number is 303-454-0100. And his email address is, holy crap, usaco.jwalsh@usdog.gov.
So, folks, we've really got to get on this one. They're threatening our safe access. Like I said, what they're trying to do, we have 3 legalization measures and counting that we're trying to get on our ballot. It's going to happen here. It's Colorado. We have common sense. We're not ignorant. We know our science. We know that cannabis is a harmless medicine that has thousands of uses.
It's saved my kid's life, and
absolutely.
So it saved my life, and it's saving lots of other.
I'm right there with you.
My shirt says, "Educate, don't discriminate. Cannabis saves kids too."
So I encourage what I like to do, and I joked earlier that the folks at the White House probably know me by my first name these days. I call daily. Or every other day.
Yeah, I call every other day.
I encourage everybody out there listening, and tell your family and friends. You never know who's going to do that, who's going to make that call.
Yeah, they can't even, these schools are shutting down, auto shop, all that other stuff, because, we can't. So, where's our tax dollars going? These dispensaries are paying taxes.
Right.
That could fund that.
Right.
Water our parks, pay for our kids in school.
Or we could just get radical and end the drug war.
That too. Come on. Jesus Christ.
I think we're going to have to be to commercial here real quick. Sean, thanks for coming on. Thank Chaz for me. I know he had to take care of business.
Call, write, be a pain in his ass.
Absolutely. That's what it's going to take. Thanks, man. We'll have you back soon. We'll be right back on Overgrow the Radio. Thanks for listening.
Sarah's Medicated Teas. With over 50,000 tea bags sold, Sarah's Medicated Teas have quickly become the most popular and effective way to medicate without smoking. Tea bags are made with loose leaf tea and fine hash keef, separated into 4 med bases in 1/3 and 1 full gram strengths. Our keef infusion process has a consistent dose in each bag. Sarah's Medicated Teas come in 20 flavors. Enjoy hot or over ice. Sarah's Medicated Teas can be found in MMJ centers across the state of Colorado. Check out our website at www.mmjfarm.com. www.mmjfarm.com. Sarah's Medicated Teas. When you need to medicate, it's tea time.
What's up, everybody? This is J-Dub.
And this is Dustin with the Weed Pimps. We're just coming to let you know that we have a shop open at 62A Mount View Lane, and we're here for all your wholesale needs. We're ready to fill your store's shelf. We have Weed Pimp and Green Monster Glass. We have Ganja Girl, Dope Stars to keep the moisture in your meds. We're straight out of Colorado Springs. We have all your custom screen printing needs. Give us a call. If you'd like an appointment, we'll be here for you at 7 a.m. or late at night. 719-375-1561.
Don't forget to check us out. Coming up, we're going to be at the Patients Out of Time event, Wednesday, March 14th, 5 to 8 p.m. at Jake's Food and Spirits. Then you can catch us at the Freedom Festival on 420 right here in Colorado Springs at America the Beautiful Park. After that, we will be at the High Times Cannabis Cup on the 21st and 22nd of April. And you can also like us at We Pimp Clothing on Facebook and follow our YouTube channel, WPTV JDub. Don't forget to always take big rips and have even bigger dreams.
California's Attorney General has determined that the Repeal Cannabis Prohibition Act will save hundreds of millions of dollars from our overburdened justice system while creating hundreds of millions in new tax revenues from new sustainable jobs and industries that are friendly to our environment. But we can't do it without your help. We are seeking your donations to get on the ballot. Please go to repealcannabisprohibition.org to learn more about how you can help. It's time to end the war on cannabis and hemp in California. It's time to end the madness. Paid for by Sensible Californians Incorporated.
Help defend women's rights in the pursuit of equality. Join Americans all across the United States on April 28, 2012, as we come together as one to tell members of Congress in Washington, D.C. and legislatures in all 50 states enough is enough. All Americans have the right to make a decision about their own bodies, including contraception, without interference from government, business, or religious institutions. Join us at Civic Center Park, April 28th at 10 a.m. www.unitedwomen.net.
And we're back here on Overgrow the Radio.
Welcome back.
Our next guest is Mr. Chris Nixon from We Are Change. Hey, Chris.
Hi, how you doing?
What's happening?
On a fine day.
Yeah. We're going to let this intro play out. Elisa, I'm going to let you field some questions with Chris for us. We're going to find out a little bit about Chris's organization. We're going to dance right now, though.
All right. So, Chris, could you tell us about your organization? What is your organization?
Well, my name is Chris. I'm with We Are Change Colorado and We Are Change Colorado Springs. We're a political activist group. We're not left. We're not right. We're a freedom organization. We do everything from street-level activism all the way up to lobbying up at capitals.
And how do you decide what you're going to do your activism around? Is it just basically around freedoms, or?
Basically, it's around freedoms. But we kind of call ourselves a leaderless organization made up of leaders. And so individuals who belong to We Are Change or visit us, they come to us with an idea, and whoever wants to get behind it, we go out and help other people who are out there doing something and being active.
Nice. So folks, like here in Denver, we come up from the Springs, and I know you work with Denver quite a bit.
Yes.
I'm guessing there's We Are Change in Denver.
Yes, there is. There is. If you would like to visit the website at wearechangecolorado.org, sign up for the newsletter. You'll get updates of when there's meetings, when there's street-level activism. It's a great place to show up and, once again, give your ideas. We cover everything from government corruption all the way down to GMOs to medical marijuana. We run a real wide range of topics and ideas, as long as it's freedom oriented.
And I know we started on a different note, but our topic is voting. It's very important. I guess it's not really a different note because we have to vote people like this out of office. We Are Change works a lot to get people to register to vote.
We do. We encourage everyone to find a party, whatever that is, and go with it.
Sure.
The part of the problem right now is we're covered with nothing but non-registered people or unaffiliated. At that point, you no longer get to vote in the primaries or anything else, so you're still letting the establishment candidates run their campaign and get all the way up to the end. Then we're sitting there voting for the lesser of two evils.
Sure.
If we actually get involved and help decide who's going to be elected up to primary, up to state, even up to federal levels, that's where we can actually make a difference.
Absolutely. You had a point, I think. I saw you jotting down notes.
Oh, no. I was just writing down the name of his organization.
Okay. I think a big point to touch on here, all the organizations, the reason I brought you in, and Michael, who I haven't quite introduced yet, Michael Clifton is up from the Springs. He's been quiet over there.
Yep.
I brought you guys in tonight because MMJ and our world ties into so many other organizations. And I see so many, I actually attended the march down in the Springs the other day for Trevon. It was a great turnout. I was really impressed. And in the future, we're going to talk to some of the organizers of that. I think we're all dealing with civil rights issues. It's very important now more than ever because we're losing our civil rights almost on a daily basis. I mean, they're passing. I'm getting ready to hold a protest in D.C. They just passed a law that I can't protest around a federal official. How's that going to work? I'm pretty sure D.C. is all federal officials. So, I mean, it's things like that are very scary to anyone who likes their liberties, who likes their freedoms here. Let me throw air quotes up for those of you who don't have video.
Well, you're exactly right. And the one thing that we encourage with We Are Change is to help educate and get people to realize it's not a left issue and it's not a right issue. It's a freedom issue. I always do sit there and say, we have two different sides, but they want the same thing at the end of the day. One wants control of how much water is in your toilet. The other one wants control of what books you read, what medicine you can have, that type of stuff. And without our involvement, we are sitting there being apathetic. And as long as we're apathetic, we're going to get what we deserve.
Complacent. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
I had a little bit of deja vu there, a little history. I met Chris at Occupy, and I'm pretty sure we had that same conversation there.
Absolutely, we did.
One of my taglines, I did a lot of media. Chris helped some with the media, I believe. And one of my taglines was just that, there's the left and the right paradigm. They want our population divided. If they can keep us divided, it's much easier for them to control the populace. The left and right paradigm, we will never agree on the solutions to everything, but what we can do is we can sit down as a population and pretty much agree on the keynote issues that are wrong. I saw that big time at Occupy. You see it all the time. You get, like with MMJ, you get in your little niche, and you don't see stuff like that because it is, we're slowly becoming a conservative movement. We just got Pat Robertson to help us out with that. Thank you, Pat. We're slowly broadening as a community. People are learning more about cannabis and the benefits. But you get in your little world and you don't see that until you actually step outside of that box and you talk to that friend of yours who might be a Republican when you're a crazy liberal, and you realize, wow, we agree. It's
absolutely. During whoever is in office is what I'm exactly the opposite is what people call me. I've been called everything from a right-wing extremist to a left-wing wacko. Sure. And it's because I'm pointing out whoever is in office of what they're lying about. I would like to expose them, and I would like to educate people. Believe it or not, I've also served in the past on the El Paso County Tea Party. I was on their board.
Sure.
And it's because I love my freedoms. And even they're trying to educate and get them to realize it's not always the left and it's not always the right. It is both sides who are at this point being bought and paid for by big industry, big corporation, and their special interests.
Well, and you just touched on it right there. I mean, if you follow the money in our politics, it's disgusting. Anyone with common sense these days, that's common knowledge. I guess the next point that kind of leads into that, we have to be united. Organizations should be united. People should be united. We're in a pretty trying time right now, all the way around. Not just in our cannabis world, but in there's a lot of issues. There's a war on women right now, which I don't quite understand. We're trying to step back to the 30s, but that's a side note for another night. I guess my question is, and we're going to take another break in a minute, but we may be able to get into this a little bit. Ways we can all work together actively to reform voting, to reform politics. I mean, there's more we can do than just vote.
I agree 100%. I do sit there and say to everybody, on voting day is the one day you can actually kind of take off. Everything else is decided in between elections.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think, I know with Overgrow, we in D.C. this year, we're encouraging folks to show up a day early and actually, visit their representatives, visit their offices. They're not in session, but that's okay. Their staff is there. Enough people go in and voice their opinion, that stuff gets taken down. They may read it.
Well, and actually that's a wonderful idea. The one thing I would suggest on top of that is actually call and make an appointment with their office.
Absolutely.
Because, whether it's a staffer or not, someone may actually take an appointment with them.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go as press.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I'm going to try to pull that one off. I know, I look so professional. Michael, we're going to jump in and see if you have any thoughts on what we're talking about here, because you've been so quiet over there.
my organization completely agrees that voter apathy and disenfranchisement are evil, and they are two things that it's completely okay to hate.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to jump in later on with you and get more details about your organization. I'm going to do something special on camera. Chris, we got some more time here, so we're going to talk some more about your organization. And what I guess my next point that I'm curious about is, what do you guys have going on now?
Right now, we are always out there trying to educate people on the Federal Reserve. So we do actions at least once a month over at the Federal Reserve building downtown off 16th Street Mall.
And what day is that?
That it kind of bounces around. That's why I would suggest people to sign up at wearechange.colorado.org.
You can get email updates.
Yeah, and sign on to the newsletter. And they do update. I know there will be a street action on opening day of Colorado Rockies.
Nice.
I want to say that's the 13th of April. I believe it's an evening game. So there will be some of us down there handing out all kinds of information on many different topics. We do like to do a lot of street theater, bullhorning, flyer passing, DVD handing out things.
Nice.
It's about reaching the masses at that point.
So Chris actually has a personal story I'm going to ask him to share with us real quick. We're talking about civil rights. We always talk about civil rights because we're, criminals. Cannabis people are all criminals. Chris actually challenged the system on a personal level. He just brought up a word that reminded me of that with a bullhorn.
I did. I
want to hear that story.
I was in Colorado Springs. This was a couple years ago on September 9th. It was, I want to say, the 8th year of anniversary of 9/11. Partly how We Are Change actually got started. It got started out of New York by a guy named Luke Radowski.
Admire him a lot.
And, wonderful street-level activist, citizen journalist, all that type of stuff. Well, he started it partly because he realized some of the questions that revolved around 9/11 and some of the stuff that was not being covered. And so we were down in Colorado Springs doing our activism and handing out flyers and DVDs, had bullhorn down there, which I normally carry with me everywhere I go. Never know when going to run into a good protest. And so I'm down there, and the police lined up approaching us and asking if I had a permit for my bullhorn, and I let him know I do not. And he, asked me why. I said, well, because I don't need one. And he said, yes, you do. I said, well, would you mind showing me the law? He would not show me the law, would not recite a law. He landed up telling me, if you want to see the law, continue, and I'll just write you a ticket. And so at that point, a friend of mine was on an opposite street corner with a bullhorn as well. At that, then I let him know. I said, well, then you might want to pull out your little black book because I'm willing to challenge this one. And that is one thing I don't advise everyone to do. You have to pick and choose your battles, and I let everybody know, whoever lands up getting arrested, that is on your own accord. I'm going to do this because I'm going to challenge this. Because the one thing I do suggest to people is always know the law before you go out and protest or anything like that. And so I let him know and continued on bullhorning. And so he got nervous and called other cops, didn't really know what to do at that point. Had about 4 officers come down.
A lot of times they don't, do they?
No. Had about another 4 officers come down. He landed up pulling out his book and discussing with other officers what they were going to do. Called over my friend as well. I set my bullhorn down and walked with him because he asked me to come towards his car. And so he did. And I did. I was completely compliant. But at the same time, I had about 5 cameras with my friends who were filming the whole entire thing. So he knew to be on his P's and Q's. Another street-level activist thing, always carry a camera and always have a friend of yours carry a camera.
And know your rights and flex your rights. There's an organization that uses that phrase. I like that phrase.
There is.
It's, I'm sorry, continue.
No, okay. And so, started writing me a ticket, which was fine, asked me to take a seat in the back of the cop car. I kind of suggested that wasn't necessary. He kind of persuaded me to do that, so I did. At this point, it didn't make a difference. Long story short, he drove through the city park to get away from the cameras, with his car, drove me to the police station, continued to write me a ticket. I let him know, thank you, have a good day, I'll see you in court. And I took them to court, went all the way through the process. It landed up being about a 4-month process, multiple court dates. Went in, fought up against the city attorney and, made motions to dismiss the case because they had no case. They chose not to, so we went to trial. It was not a trial by jury. It was the judge sat there and let him know what my case was. I put together my own case, did not hire a lawyer or anything else. I was able to subpoena all the officers, everything else. I think a trial that they expected to last 15 minutes, I made it last all the way through lunch. Nice. And at the very end, the judge was actually furious because nothing was ever stated in any of the law that I could not have a bullhorn, and where did the law state that I needed a permit, and he couldn't find one. And so the judge was actually pretty upset.
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
So it was quite a success story.
Absolutely, man. And it had to have felt good to stand up for your rights and defeat the system.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful.
Well, we're going to take another commercial break. You want to stick around for a little bit?
Absolutely.
Right on. I think we're going to chat some more with you, and then we're going to bring Mr. Clifton on to chat with us. We'll be right back here at Overgrow the Radio on iCannabisRadio.com.
The law offices of Edson, Maiden, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it on grass. Runongrass.com.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
Sarah's Medicated Teas. With over 50,000 tea bags sold, Sarah's Medicated Teas have quickly become the most popular and most effective way to medicate without smoking. Our tea bags are made with loose leaf tea and fine hash keef. We separate into sativa, indica, hybrid, and kush medicine bases in 1/3 and 1 full gram strength. Our keef infusion process has a consistent measured dose in each bag. Sarah's Medicated Teas come in 20 flavors. Enjoy them hot or over ice. Sarah's Medicated Teas can be found in 80 MMJ centers across the state of Colorado. Sarah's Medicated Teas. When you need to medicate, it's tea time.
Puff, puff, pass. It's the New Jersey Weed Man, and I'm listening to iCannabis Radio.
Bringing us back in proper like. I like that. Welcome back, guys. Rocky Mountain, where? High? Is that where we're at? Mm-hmm. We're in Denver. We're a mile high. That's what I meant. No one's medicated here. We're all legal. Good evening. Welcome back. We're going to chat now with my friend from the Springs. We kept Chris around, but we're going to bring Michael on. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good.
Tell us about yourself, Michael.
Well, I am. I started out as a YouTuber when I became an activist because of freedom of speech issues on YouTube, especially with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. But lately I have become a voter registration drive organizer, and the drive is called votinginaction.org. And I've seen you guys around lately with a lot of different activism, but one bit of activism that ties the civil rights issues to the patient issues here in Colorado is just this week we saw in our city, me and Chris, we saw that the city council passed a law about surveillance cameras that they're going to put downtown. Well,
I saw it too.
Yeah, and some of the protesters that I saw that actually showed up to speak to city council both this week and 2 weeks prior to that when they first brought it up, a lot of them were members of We Are Change.
Nice.
But on the 10th, they're going to have the second reading for those downtown cameras. And when they pass it, if they do, on that day, we're going to start a petition to put in a voter referendum for it. Now, at the city level, we need 15% of however many people voted for the mayor. And unfortunately, there was a big turnout for it, so we need 14,700 signatures for that petition, which should be easy compared to some of the signatures that have happened for initiatives for medical marijuana on the state level.
Sure.
But what I'm looking at here is this is Initiative 30. This is the one that was put out by MPP, Safer, and Normal, right?
Which has since changed.
Which has since changed?
Multiple times.
Okay. they had like 8 different initiatives.
We're
but
with you.
This is Initiative 30. And on February 3rd, they were denied initially to be on the November ballot because they had submitted 156,000 signatures. They only needed 87,000, and they only had 86,000. And when I saw those numbers, I was like, that cannot be right. That they just came within 1,000 and half of their signatures were bad? What is this? You know,
right.
It's like somebody sat down and challenged every signature until they had just enough to make sure that the people of Colorado could not vote on this. And at that point, it's disenfranchisement, and it's right in my radar, you know. So I've seen a couple other initiatives like the Legalize 2012 and some other things come up. But what we want to do is compare the proportion of voters that sign and get disqualified off these petitions, because I'm pretty sure 50% of the people who sign a petition is a pretty huge proportion to disqualify. And we're about to have one on the city level where we just need 14,700. Now we're thinking maybe we should go ahead and get 20,000.
Actually, this is Chris again, and actually that is a great idea. They do say you should always go up and above 20%. I've worked on petition drives.
Yes.
And there is a process that they sit there and throw out everything. And it's when they don't want things or the people to be heard.
Well, luckily we have a lot of time before November, and when we finally have to turn in our signatures, we'll have something more than 250 days before the deadline. But we're looking at the proportion that we're going to get from the city for civil rights issues such as the security cameras versus the proportion that the state will disqualify, you know, to get just 1,000 less. And luckily there are laws to protect petition getters and people who want to do initiatives like this that say if you are initially turned down, you only have to get enough signatures to get back over that level. So they were turned down to discourage them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
absolutely.
And so they only had to go out and get 1,000. But how many did they get? Overkill.
Yeah.
Because they have to.
Yeah. Well, I think definitely saw that with the MMJ thing, the legalization measure. I love that though. I love that we turned in how many. Lisa, do you know the numbers on that?
I don't know what the numbers
I just know
I know
that
before February 3rd, it was
156,000,
and you only needed 87.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they can try. I mean, it's underhanded. It's unfortunately a lot of the tactics of our government these days.
And now what we're putting together for our organization is a comprehensive Colorado Open Records Act request where we're going to compare all of the different initiatives and the proportions of signatures that got disqualified. And we're going to look into where companies used to get these signatures, because there are some companies that actually boast of certain success rates where at least a certain percentage of their signatures will be good. And
sure,
that's been a problem with the marriage equality people in years past, where they have paid to have a certain number of signatures, and the money is coming from outside people. But here, with the medical marijuana issue, this is a very grassroots movement, and most of the people that got those signatures were volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
So
they weren't. Most of them weren't getting paid per signature.
There
so
were a
it's
few, but
very,
not many.
very
Yeah.
shifty to think that 50% were bad.
So is this going to be on this year's ballot or next?
Initiative 30 will be on this year's ballot in November. The legalized 2012 one at their website, I'm not sure what their progress is, but they have not turned in all of their signatures yet.
We, I think I said earlier, I think there's 3 now legalization initiatives for the ballot.
And they are different.
Yeah, we're actually going to have Rico on in a couple of weeks to talk about Initiative 70, the author of that one, or one of the authors, I shouldn't say the author. And I'm very excited about that one. I'm very unbiased. I like anything that has the word legalization. But I see holes in some stuff, and we're going to address that and go into that. You know, I think it's very important, as we saw with the MMJ community, that, you know, with the 1284 coming out after Amendment 20 and really squashing patient rights, squashing caregiver rights, Lisa can attest to that, squashing a lot of rights that I don't think we planned on when Amendment 20 passed. Now, I wasn't part of that. I was back in the Midwest when you guys were smart enough to do that. But I've since reaped the benefits. And I think it's very important, I would say we think it's very important, that anything that passes has to be detailed. It has to address a lot of issues that we should have addressed the first time around. You know, and that's... I'm sure that
that's a big difference between state level initiatives and municipal initiatives, because normally a city will require that there's one issue at hand, and they normally limit it to no more than 5 sentences on any of them that I've seen. But in Colorado Springs, it's one initiative, one issue, and they have to review the wording first, and they print up the forms for you.
Sure.
So they've already passed the verbiage of it, you know. And
Right.
sometimes they'll have a problem and they'll kick it back.
So you can bounce it back and forth, and they're willing to work with you somewhat.
But
That's
as soon
pretty
as
good
you
for-
start the process, like as with the security cameras, we'll have at least a legal basis for an injunction to keep the cameras away until the voters can vote on it. And what we're aiming for with that is the first initiative will be, can we vote on it? That will be what will be voted on in November,
Right.
because that will extend the issue out even longer.
Sure. Well, and that can it can be a plus, because it's more time to educate.
Yes,
you
it
know,
is.
With
And that's what
anything,
we're looking for.
education is huge. You
And-
know, your
and what's-
personal opinion on the cameras in the Springs is obviously a negative one.
Yes.
I would like to get some info out to folks real quick. We're going to come back after the break, but your contact info. How do folks get involved in all this stuff that you have going on?
You can go to our website, votinginaction.org. We have emails set up there. All of our contacts. We have a P.O. box. We have everything you need. You can register to vote online there through the Colorado Secretary of State website or Rock the Vote. Yeah, we've got it all right there, votinginaction.org.
Well, I think what I need to do right now is I think you have something for me.
Oh, yes, we do.
I'm guilty. I moved a year ago. Not a year ago. Well, yeah, a year ago. I moved, and I forgot to change my voter registration. I believe Michael can tell us. I was fairly ignorant on that. I didn't know I had to change it. I guess I assumed with my license it would change automatically. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hide my address here, but I'm going to sign this thing and make it all official. I'm going to need a witness. Can I get a witness?
You don't need a witness.
All right, guys, we'll be right back here. I'm going to take care of this, get all legal. Thanks for joining us. Come back and listen to the rest of us.
Hi, this is Teresa with Medical Alternatives Clinic. Anytime you come to see us, you will see the same local doctor, Bruce Reimers. We stay up to date and in compliance with all state laws and regulations. We have Monday through Friday appointments with one Saturday clinic a month. Notary on site that can help you with your paperwork. We also have 2 convenient locations to serve our patients, one in Colorado Springs and one in Pueblo. If you have any questions or would like to make an appointment, please call us at 719-246-0393. That's 719-246-0393.
Boom. This Frankie Swags from Royal Star, and I'm listening to iCannabis Radio.
The law offices of Edson, Mayton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
California's Attorney General has determined that the Repeal Cannabis Prohibition Act will save hundreds of millions of dollars from our overburdened justice system while creating hundreds of millions in new tax revenues from new sustainable jobs and industries that are friendly to our environment. But we can't do it without your help. We are seeking your donations to get on the ballot. Please go to repealcannabisprohibition.org to learn more about how you can help. It's time to end the war on cannabis and hemp in California. It's time to end the madness. Paid for by Sensible Californians Incorporated.
Hey, this is Stickman from Overgrow the Radio. Join us on April 20th at 10 a.m. at the Sylvan Theater in D.C. We're there to send a strong message to the feds once again for the second year in a row about their failed drug policy and the need to end it. Special guests include Sean Dunnigan from LEAP, Jason Love from Cannabis Health News Magazine, yours truly, and many more to come. You can contact us at overgrowthegovernment.org or by email at stickman200210@gmail.com. Please be involved in whatever way you can. It will take us all standing together to end this madness. Peace.
What's up, everybody? This is J-Dub.
And this is Dustin with the Weed Pimps. We're just coming to let you know that we have a shop open at 62A Mount View Lane, and we're here for all your wholesale needs. We're ready to fill your store's shelf. We have Weed Pimp and Green Monster Glass. We have Ganja Girl, Dope Stars to keep the moisture in your meds. We're straight out of Colorado Springs. We have all your custom screen printing needs. Give us a call. If you'd like an appointment, we'll be here for you at 7 a.m. or late at night. 719-375-1561.
Don't forget to check us out. Coming up, we're going to be at the Patients Out of Time event Wednesday, March 14th, 5 to 8 p.m. at Jake's Food and Spirits. Then you can catch us at the Freedom Festival on 420 right here in Colorado Springs at America the Beautiful Park. After that, we will be at the High Times Cannabis Cup on the 21st and 22nd of April. And you can also like us at We Pimp Clothing on Facebook and follow our YouTube channel WPTV JDub. Don't forget to always take big rips and have even bigger dreams.
Welcome back to Overgrow the Radio. This is Elisa, and I'd just like to thank our sponsors tonight. We'd like to give a shout out to the Weed Pimps and in Dispensary in Colorado Springs, Green Monster Glass, Southern Colorado Medical Marijuana, Sarah's Teas, Edson, Mayton, and Matz, and Medical Marijuana 101, and Run on Grass. Thanks, you guys. We can't do this without you.
Absolutely. And we've actually got some really great deals right now on advertising here. We got a lot of great programming, a lot of opportunity. I have to mention, yesterday, we received an award, our station. We were named, what was it? The best place to tune in while tuning out. I find that an honor. I want to thank Westward, and I want to thank all the people who voted for us. That's amazing. Thanks, guys. We're really honored here at iCannabis Radio.
Yes, that is wonderful.
We'll keep bringing you great programming, or we'll try to. We're back here. Chris is still with us from We Are Change. The beautiful, talented, smart Elisa from, well, wherever you're from. Michael Clifton.
Well, there's two very important things that you still have to plug.
Okay.
One being the on April 20th, the Freedom Festival in America the Beautiful Park.
Yes.
But then there's the Overgrow the Government for DC.
I just made a note of that. Yeah, we should talk about that for a minute. Elisa and I at some point will get into our history a little bit. We haven't really had a chance to do that here yet. We've been so busy with lots of great guests. Overgrow the Government's something that I founded from an idea. I can actually tie this in because part of my closing this evening was that we can, as individuals, make a difference. Overgrow for me started as a conversation with a friend on Facebook. She said, well, why don't you post it as an event? And I did, and within days I had organizations calling me, and 1,000 people on the page. So we went last year on 420 was our first year. We marched from the Washington Monument last year to Lafayette Park. We were right next to the White House. We were instructed before we went that we were not allowed to point our speakers at the White House. So all day long, as our speakers were pointed parallel, we just turned towards the White House and addressed them that way. So it was really a great day. We actually had a contact I work with at MPP told us we were the largest rally there in a decade. So we really did a good job of putting it together at short notice. We went back in September as sort of an afterthought, and we're headed back again in just a few weeks on 420. We've changed it up a little because we want to grow. We're now at the Sylvan Theater, which is right next to the Washington Monument, which is pretty monumental because we all know George Washington was a huge proponent of hemp. He liked to smoke his hemp, too. He didn't just use it to make clothes. So we're going to be there on 420. We meet up usually around 10 a.m. at the Sylvan Theater. And then around 11, we should have a police escort down to the White House to go say hi to Mr. Obama if he's in town this year. I think he skied out last year on us on purpose. And then we return back, and we have a day of speakers and music this year. We have sort of partnered up with an organization there in D.C., Art Under Pressure. We're working with some really great people there, and they're actually taking care of all of our music and lining up our after party for this year. We have been working to finalize everyone speaker-wise. I'll be there. Jason Law from Cannabis Health News will be there. Craig Barish from San Diegoans from Patients' Rights we had on last week or the week before.
Last week.
Yeah, last week. So there's a number of people. Sean Dunnigan from LEAP. If you're not familiar with LEAP, LEAP is Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, which is an amazing organization. It's the smart cops is what I like to call them. But it's not just cops. It's actually federal prosecutors. It's judges. It's mostly retired, obviously, because active law enforcement, that might be a conflict of interest. But, yeah, I mean, it's a great organization to have represented there. You know, we are working with other ones to finalize them now as we speak. Hopefully we'll get a lineup on our website before the rally actually gets here. But it looks to be a really exciting day in D.C. I'd love to get all of you guys out there. We're going to be Overgrow. Actually, Travis at Subculture, I should plug him because he very generously donated a booth to Overgrow the government this year for the Freedom Fest. Am I saying that right? What's the proper name of it?
The Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams.
Yes. Freedom Festival.
I'm sorry, Travis.
And it's in America the Beautiful Park in Colorado Springs.
Absolutely, and it's on 420, and there's actually a walk before it we'll plug real quick, too.
Yes, we're doing a Cannabis for the Cure walk. You can get bracelets at most of the dispensaries in Colorado Springs for $10, and we're walking from, I believe...
Not Memorial.
Arcation.
We will get the details.
Monument Valley Park.
There you go.
Monument Valley Park to America the Beautiful Park.
And I encourage that. What's a little walk down to enjoy your day with a bunch of cannabis-friendly people?
It's very little over a mile, so it's a very easy little walk. So come and join me.
And I've not been to the 420 Fest. I was in D.C. obviously last year as well. But you know, I hope you guys have a great turnout. What Overgrow is going to do with our booth is my co-host Elisa is actually facing charges right now. Bob Kraus, who's hanging out somewhere in the back in the green room, as well, and Chuck Ball, who was raided but is not facing charges. We're going to just dedicate our booth to these guys this year because what's happening there is so unjust. I encourage anyone who's not familiar with their stories to get out that day and talk to them. I look for all three of them to be there at some point throughout the day. It's really a shame that our tax dollars are being wasted. You know, it's this all really, we kind of changed the focus of our show tonight a little bit. You know, we didn't go completely cannabis. We talked about voting. I mean, you have to agree, all this ties in together.
It does. We have to vote if we're going to have rights and be able to use medication. So.
And people say, well, what good does it do if I vote? What does my vote do? Just to throw out some statistics, and correct me if it's changed, but something like 15% of our population is registered to vote. It's not very high.
It's not very high. The one thing I will say, voting is very important. But if you actually really want to get involved and really try and make change, go down to your local, capital, go down to your legislators, go to your senators, congress people. Phone calls are great.
Show up.
The way lobbying kind of works is, when you make a phone call, it is like, they take that one phone call as being equals about 15 of their voters. When you send a fax, they look at that as being about 10 of their actual voters. But when you actually show up in person and go talk to them, they look at that as 100 voters walking through that door, letting them know how they feel.
Absolutely. Yeah, it does make a huge difference. I recently, with my lady friend, visited one of our representatives' office, and they look shocked. So that tells me right there that not enough people come in like that. You should. I mean, if nothing else, make your voice heard. Go in, be respectful.
Absolutely.
Don't go in looking all raggedy.
And I would suggest find somebody who has your passion, who is already down there, because whatever your passion is or whatever you want to stand up and say, there's probably someone down there already who already has that point of view, and they might know the ins and outs of how the system works. I mean, most people don't realize you can go be a volunteer lobbyist by walking through the doors saying, I want to register as a volunteer lobbyist, putting your ID down, they make you an ID, and you walk off, and you're able to go speak to representatives.
I think Chris just took us to our closing. We started the show tonight with Rage Against the Machine. I had to get my mad mood on.
Grr.
That song was Wake Up. And I think America, everyone listening and everyone beyond our listening, we have to wake up. We not only have to wake up, we have to stand up. And we have to stand up together. And until we do that, as I've said before, we lose. Let's not lose this. I have a child. A lot of us have children. Let's do this for them. Hey, I want to thank everyone. Elisa's got something to add.
I do. This is not just about voting. People think it's just about voting. People they're dying. Their lives are in your hands. And voting is one way to help. We can get medication out to patients that need it.
Absolutely. Yeah, cannabis is at the top of it's a keynote issue right now, and that's why we're here every week. That's our passion. And there's so many other issues, real quick, we've got to get on this down in Colorado Springs, people, these cameras. These cameras are not the way we want to live. I mean, I don't want someone watching me walk down the sidewalk to go to King Chef to have breakfast. I'm sorry, but that's not what I'm looking for. So, guys, I want to thank Michael Clifton. Michael, one more time, give us your web address.
votinginaction.org.
Right on. Chris Nixon.
You can contact us at wearechangecolorado.org, or you can email me directly at chris@wearechangeColoradoSprings.org.
Right on, guys. Thanks a lot. Let's have you back on at some point. Let's do this again. It's election year. We've got a lot to do.
Yep.
Elisa, thank you for all you do.
Oh, thank you, Jason.
Yeah. And all our listeners, please get out there, stand up. Let's do this. We love you. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Peace.
Judge not the world by your abilities. Their eyes may see a different view than you. Let not them blind you with technologies. Their progress might not be for you. Well, you gotta fight for your rights and be yourself. You got to strike out once, my friend, if you want liberty. Well, you gotta fight for your rights and be yourself. And you got to strike out once, my friend, if you wanna be free. Go ask the people in America. They seem to Go ask the black man in South Africa about the justice and the freedom he grew. And it's true that you gotta fight for your rights and be yourself. You got to strike out once, my friend, if you want liberty. Well, you gotta fight for your rights and be yourself. Well, you got to strike out once, my friend, if you wanna be free. Justice, you know, and rights for all mankind. I believe that justice and freedom starts from the heart and from the soul.